This is Drew Vass, editor of Door and Window Market magazine, and I don't need these this year. Normally, we would brave Canada's cold air to bring you the latest from WinDoor. This year, I'm coming to you from the comforts of my home office. With cases for COVID-19 spiking across North America, officials for Fenestration Canada feel good about their early decision to make WinDoor a virtual event this year. The change was made a solid 6 months ahead of the show, following record-setting attendance for their spring conference. If there are any upsides to this year's virtual trade shows, that might be it, how they've managed to broaden attendance online. With a new name in tow and year-long access, now it seems that WinDoor could be heading for a hybrid format. We connected with Fenestration Canada's executive director, Steve Labelle, to discuss how the show's opening week went and what might lie ahead. Stefan, normally we would conduct this interview walking the aisles of your show, surrounded by people, stopping to say hi here and there. We can't do that this year, obviously. Nope. You made the announcement in June that this event would move to online.
Yeah.
Which is what, nearly 6 months ahead of the event? And I have to say, by 2020 standards, that was pretty early. But you also said you wanted to ensure that you had time to do it right.
Exactly.
What was that process like, and how well did you find that your in-person event translated to an online format?
We were supposed to have our spring conference actually around May. Like a little before that, it was not clear if this would be like a couple weeks thing or a couple month things, or maybe like a couple years. We didn't know. For the spring conference, it was kind of last minute. So when we went through that and we ended up successfully, postponing stuff and then creating some sort of platform where we could host our spring conference, and it ended up being a big success. It was almost as good as if we did it in person, so that was good for us. But we turned it around, but it was really exhausting to get that out there and make it work. So right after we were done, made me think right away, okay, like we need to make a decision about WinDoor as soon as possible.
Your spring conference, if I recall correctly, I think it set record attendance, right?
Yeah.
So that must have been a really promising sign for the format. Yeah.
Well, what it did exactly. So because usually people who travel are going to be one or two per company, most of the time. But now you could have basically everyone in your company who would have an interest in one of the sessions to attend. So I heard a lot about people in conference rooms in companies all together, watching the spring conference, and I'm sure that's what's happening right now with WinDoor. So that opened another possibility. And one good thing that came out from this whole pandemic for us is that it forced us to take this next level as fast as possible and as good as possible. So what that means is now that we offered this service, we can't really move back from that. Like we'll have to offer that in the future no matter what.
Regarding the trade show side of this, and obviously, you tacked on marketplace to the name. Some shows have gone all in on seminars and they've just skipped the virtual trade show component altogether. How did you arrive at the decision to say, we're going all in, we're going to do a trade show component?
Yeah. I mean, the trade show component was no question for us from the get-go, because that's, yes, like the education and the networking is really important. But so like some suppliers, they're there, and sometimes it's to show new product, but it's also to support the industry they sell to, to show support and provide support. So in COVID times like that, you need to give them the opportunity of not only just like have a supplier showcase and sell their product, but you also need to give them the opportunity to be there with a virtual booth where they can actually talk with people and show their support, because that's what's important in this industry. Like there was no way we could, think of doing it without that. Like if you don't get that aspect, it just doesn't make sense to me.
We don't know what's going to happen, but we are getting some positive indicators here recently.
Yep.
And you've basically said no matter how well this online platform works, in 2021 you're headed back to an in-person
Hmm.
event in Toronto, right?
If
So,
yeah, if pandemic is not like, or if there's solutions, yeah.
and that's what I wanted to ask you, just from your personal perspective, how solid is that feeling? But you mentioned back in February, March, we all had no idea whether this was going to last
Hmm.
weeks, months. We had no idea. What are you feeling now? I mean, is there any part of you that's wondering if that 2021 show will happen in person?
Well, I mean, at this point, it's it's the safe thing to do. So what we're doing right now is to prepare to make sure that WinDoor, no WinDoor, we can deliver the same level of services and maybe even more. How can we optimize our services even more? Because if there's no WinDoor, that means we're still in the pandemic. That means our membership needs us more than ever before. My thing is, my perception is, if there's a chance to have WinDoor in person, we'll do it. So we'll prepare for it. We'll do everything we do each year. We'll sign up people. We'll make sure, and then we'll transition if we need to transition. But I'm pretty hopeful with the vaccines coming up and all of that.
Like other online events, Marketplace by WinDoor utilizes a platform that's designed to resemble the real thing as much as possible. From a show lobby, attendees can click on tabs for educational sessions, view the show's sponsors, and of course, scroll through a list of exhibitors to visit. Even with the virtual format, DWM's publisher and editorial director, Tara Taffera, maintained the tradition for our annual Best Booth Awards. She was joined by fellow judge Lindsay McGee, marketing manager for Centennial Windows and Doors. The award for Best Engagement went to Fuchs. Among all the companies they visited, apparently Fuchs went the greatest lengths to engage its visitors. Best new product for Windows went to Radisson Industries' Phantom Window Operator. The company has a video posted in its booth that is front and center, showcasing how its latest operator forgoes the need for traditional locks. Best new product in the category of Other went to Erdman for its one-man robotic IG cell. This is a machine that's made a lot of splash this year. Best video, which of course had a lot of competition with digital booths, and that went to JSA Machinery. They have a lineup of 3 videos in their booth, and they aren't just flybys, but include really in-depth overviews. Best new exhibitor is Swiss Spacer. The company came out strong with resources and a great video that really zooms in and shows you what the product is all about. And last but not least, Best Booth overall went to Elton. The company's introductory video made all the difference for this one. It's really large in the way they set it up. It's like you're being greeted at a live show. Really nice job. Great job to all of our award winners. Well, with the promise of new vaccines slowly coming to fruition and next year's show expected to go live again, we look forward to joining you in person. Whatever the future holds, one thing is clear: the show will go on in Canada. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care.